art style and visuals play an impressively important role in video games. We're lucky to be witnessing some of the best graphics to have ever been achieved since Pong first came out in 1972, which literally had a few floating lines and a score marker. Needless to say, we aren't stuck in a generation of visuals like that anymore. Things have drastically changed over the years and for the better of gaming in its entirety. This immense rise in technological advancement has seen some of the most graphically incredible titles, and things are only getting better as we speak. Let's look at some brand new titles that are visually breathtaking, aesthetically pleasuring, and a sheer joy to look at. Here are some new games with the most realistic graphics from 2021 and beyond.
Down! Get down! They're up on the ridge! Return fire!
You teeter on the edge of an abyss.
The Dark Pictures House of Ashes 2021. This addition to the Dark Pictures anthology is remarkably delightful. Supermassive Games have taken it up a notch by employing some big faces to the cast of the game, including Ashley Tisdale, Nick Tarabay, Pip Torrens, and Sammy Karim. Essentially, the game's a survival horror, so the visuals and storytelling aspects will probably play the biggest roles in the game. From what we can gather, the game visually looks impressive to say the least. Once it's out, we'll be able to understand its true worth. This game takes a deep dive into ancient myths, curses, and legends, plotting the characters as they survive through whatever Naram Sin, a Mesopotamian king cursed by gods, has to throw at them. Described from a dev's note, this game is exploration horror, in which a group of trained experts beyond safety with no backup encounters something horrible. Really interesting if you're into that kind of stuff. House of Ashes comes out on October the 22nd this year. Avatar: Frontiers of Pandora 2022. Now, this one's really exciting for all of you Avatar fan girls, boys, and everyone else out there. Avatar: Frontier of Pandora is courted to an open-world first-person game with a supremely detailed Pandora. It'll feel like the planet actually exists. Ubisoft is in the works with this one, and their main focus seems to be flying, immersion, AI, and map design, all of which means that the game has to look like it's part of the movie. I mean, somewhat. From the trailer, you can already kind of feel that there's an incredibly detailed open world in the making, something that players have been dying to experience. With Frontiers of Pandora, the Snowdrop engine will be playing the frontal role in creating this magical world, but we'll only know its true worth once the game actually comes out. From the looks of it, things are going pretty smoothly, and even though we don't know much about release date, we're getting frequent updates about the game, which is good. Let's hope for the best with this one. Can't wait to get my hands on it.
Clean air, bright skies.
Forspoken 2022. So for this one, imagine every single sprawling open world experience mashed into a visually exquisite game. Well, that's Forspoken for you. The game looks and feels incredible. It kind of reminded me of my absolute first adventures in games like Skyrim and Witcher 3 that kind of set the benchmark in open world exploration. But Forspoken seems to be following its footsteps and adding more to it visually. Previously known as Project Athia, the game's being developed by Luminous Productions under the watching publishing eyes of Square Enix. The first couple of trailers have really been wonderful to watch because of how pretty the game looks. Definite eye candy if you ask me. This role-playing game is one that you should really look out for. It releases sometime next year. Forza Horizon 5 2021. The Forza series is filled with incredible detail every time there's a new release. With the 5th edition to the main series, the expectations are incredibly high as the game takes us to South America. No doubt this one's also going to be a visual masterclass in realism, as the others in the Forza series have been for their respective years. There's a lot more than just graphics to look forward to with Forza Horizon 5 later this year, offering up not just one of the most beautiful Xbox Series X graphical showcases to be seen in recent times, but also a polished experience that the series has somewhat worked hard on achieving. Developer Playground Games is promising a vast range of places to explore with area-specific weather systems, more character creation options, and of course, more cars. All in all, something that's gonna look incredible. Stalker 2: Heart of Chernobyl, to be announced 2022. The Stalker games are as iconic in the gaming world as Chernobyl happening itself. The eerie presence of something unknown has mocked adventurers and explorers alike, and this series aims to extend that with Stalker 2: Heart of Chernobyl. If you know of the series, then you know how deep the game can actually go with incredible game elements that have revolutionized several others in the genre. This one I'm personally really excited about because with next-gen graphics involved, the open world is going to be something to really look out for, and from the recent trailers that have surfaced, the game looks absolutely incredible. With Stalker 2, you'll be exploring the vast Chernobyl exclusion zone, and I'm certain from what we can gather, it's going to be a visual treat. The zone's a much tougher place to survive than before, especially after the second explosion hit the nuclear reactor. You never know what could be a serious threat: people, creatures, or just your own fears. Stalker 2 is set to come out sometime in 2022, and I can't wait. Microsoft Flight Simulator 2021. Okay, so technically this one came out in 2020, and with the release on Xbox Series X and S, I couldn't help myself and not mention it. It's a simulator so great, the visuals were probably the first thing on the development list. Microsoft Flight Simulators, we all know, is a really long-running series that began way back in 1982 with its first release on DOS computers. It's been a long time since then, and it's great to see some of the best visuals out there with this franchise. Keeping in mind the simulation bit, MS Flight Simulator also does a great job of actually being a simulation rather than just another flight game, with key similarities to actual flight mechanisms. Although the last edition fell a little short of the ones that came before it, this game definitely makes up for all the backlash with its visuals. Have a look for yourself. Also, another very important thing you should keep in mind is that there'll be an expansion added this fall in collaboration with the movie Top Gun Maverick, so you definitely got to watch out for that one. Ghost of Tsushima Director's Cut 2021. The original Ghost of Tsushima in itself looked incredible, and with the arrival of the Director's Cut edition a year later, the game's already incredible fanbase has heightened. Ghost of Tsushima's Director's Cut is like any other Director's Cut edition, but with a lot of added bonuses, including the Iki Island expansion, an online co-op mode, and several performance tweaks to optimize the game. What really takes the cake other than that is what they've done to improve on the visuals. The 4K resolution options with 60 frames per second adds a different dimension to the already good-looking game. This one, other than just being a phenomenal game, now looks even better than what it was like at first. If you haven't already played this game, then get the Director's Cut on your shopping list now.
One who could even beat me.
Spider-Man 2 to be announced. I honestly think that the Spider-Man series is taking up all challenges when it comes to visual perfection, and it's not like the previous Spider-Man looked bad. I mean, that game looked excellent, and now we're moving on to another game that I'm more than certain will look even better. Insomniac is cooking up more for Spider-Man goodness, and with this one, two iconic Spider-Men are joining forces, Peter Parker and Miles Morales. The game looks so good. I mean, all I can tell you is get out there and watch the initial teaser. The trailer gave us everything you want from a new Spider-Man game: acrobatic combat, web slinging, spandex suits, and all of it looks incredible. Sorry, I mean, I'm just a little lost with my words for this one, but I hope you get what I mean.
There's nothing I wouldn't do to save this world. No depth I won't explore.
Horizon Forbidden West 2022. If you know Horizon, you've probably experienced some of the best visuals out there already. The previous game is revered to be amongst many as the prettiest open world game they've ever witnessed, along with the likes of the recent Zelda and Witcher releases. With the release of the newest entry, Forbidden West, it looks like the developers are pushing the limits of their graphical prowess. Aloy is back in this sequel looking better than ever, and well, everything around her also seems to be so magical as well. This time, players will be journeying to the post-apocalyptic setting of San Francisco in America. The trailer showed off gorgeous, vibrant landscapes, new big machines, creatures, and, most interestingly of all, underwater sequences that, needless to say, look incredible. There'll be a lot to talk about when this one comes out sometime next year.
You seem like a calm and reasonable person. Are you a calm and reasonable person?
God of War Ragnarok 2022. God of War Ragnarok was on the lips of every game enthusiast with its latest trailer, showing Kratos and a much bigger Atreus facing family strife as they take on several infamous characters from Norse mythology who look so detailed, it's like the designers knew them personally. Eric Williams, the new director of the game, has taken up the duties of making this game look and feel incredible, and from what we got in the trailer, I think this one's going to be just as exciting as literally every AAA title that's yet to come. The story will see father and son travel to new realms like Vanaheim, Svartalfheim and Asgard and meet new characters. This will be the final part of God of War's Norse saga, so that's going to be sad, but at least they're going out with a bang. A Plague Tale: Requiem 2022. The first Plague Tale, if you already didn't know, looked incredible, but this was overshadowed by several other games that looked just as good. With Requiem, the prospect of getting something visually exquisite has risen higher. This surprise sequel to the original A Plague Tale: Innocence will have players following the same two heroes, Amicia and her younger brother Hugo will have to do whatever it takes to survive in the game's brutal world. Rats will be a huge problem, but there's more here than just a literal sea of rats to be worried about. Honestly, if the game charts out the same way the previous one did, then there's nothing but high hopes for this one. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this list, do consider subscribing to the gaming region and hitting that like button. You have no idea how much it helps us. And as always, see you in the next one. Peace.